Chapter 521 055 Defense Shield Test. It took Xiaofan a day to modify all 4 055s. Master Xiao, let's find a place to test it. Xia Jiangho asked. Xiaofan said that it could withstand missile attacks, but Xia Jiangho was still a little unsure, so it was best to test it while Xiaofan was there. Okay. Xiaofan nodded. General Xia, it's night now, so it's just right to send 2 of the 055s out for testing. Yes. Xia Jiangho nodded, and they quickly got on one of the 055s. 2 hours later, Xiaofan and his men reached the depths of the ocean. Master Xiao, if the defense shield is ineffective, the missiles will not destroy our warship, right? Xia Jiangho asked. Xiaofan chuckled and said, don't worry, if the defense shield is ineffective, I will resist the missiles, and the missiles will not hurt the warship. That's good. Xia Jiangho breathed a sigh of relief. Order, Ship Number 2 launches an Eagle Strike 18 anti-ship missile, targeting Ship Number 1. Xia Jiangho ordered. Received the order, Eagle Strike 18 deflector missile, attack Ship Number 1, are you sure about the order? The Number 2 ship quickly sent a communication. Confirmed. An Eagle Strike 18 missile from the Number 2 ship instantly took off into the air. The 2 ships were not far apart now, and the missiles were soon fired. Many people on the Number 1 and Number 2 ships were worried. Xiaofan was not nervous, he was confident in the formation he had arranged. Space Shield. When the missile was very close, Xiaofan arranged the Space Shield. If the defensive formation was ineffective, the missile would hit the Space Shield. With the defensive effect of Xiaofan's Space Shield, it is no problem to resist ordinary missiles now. He already has the strength of a perfect martial king. Boom. When the missile was more than 10 meters away from the warship, it hit the defense shield, and the invisible defense shield around the warship became translucent. Under the bombardment of the missile, the entire defense shield kept fluctuating. Success. Our warship really has a defense shield. Our warship is already strong, and the maximum speed can now reach 46 knots. With the defense shield, it is extremely strong. Many people on the warship were excited. Master Xiao, is this successful? I wonder how much energy was consumed. How many missile attacks can the shield withstand? Xia Jiangho asked. Xiaofan smiled and said, it must be successful. How much energy was consumed? This needs to be checked. Give me some time. 5 minutes later, Xiaofan said, General Xia, it consumed about 10% of the energy. It should be able to withstand 7 such missiles. If the energy of the shield is less than 30%, it will be unstable. In that state, it can only withstand naval gun attacks. Xia Jiangho smiled. Master Xiao, this is better than I expected. Our Eagle Strike 18 is much more powerful than ordinary missiles. Xiaofan smiled and said, I said it can withstand 6 or 7 ordinary missiles. Eagle Strike 18 also belongs to the ranks of ordinary missiles. Xia Jiangho rubbed his hands and said, Master Xiao, we still have aircraft carriers and many other warships. Look, warships can withstand missile attacks, this is great. Xiaofan said, General Xia, forget about ordinary warships. I will try to arrange aircraft carriers and 055 in the future. It consumes a lot of energy to send powerful formation beads here. The energy consumed by sending those formation beads this time is enough to send a Martial King-level monster here. A Martial King-level monster is much more powerful than 4 055s. But monsters are not very convenient to deter others, and they are easy to be disliked by other countries. Another point is that he will go to another world in the future. If he went to another world, his cultivation would increase rapidly, and it would be a question whether he could come back at that time, and the monsters might get out of control. Master Xiao, where are the submarines and 075? Xia Jiangho looked at Xiaofan expectantly. He knew that Xiaofan had helped them a lot, and he felt a little embarrassed to speak again, but the temptation of a stronger navy was too great. Xiaofan said, I will think of a way to make the submarines silent in the future, and forget about 075, it's not as powerful as 055. Master Xiao, thank you. Xia Jiangho said solemnly. Xiaofan smiled and said, why thank me? I'm Chinese. Besides, China's navy is strong, and I benefit from it. If China can't bear the pressure, where can I buy warships? General Xia, I think you shouldn't hide this. If you have such ability, show it openly. By the way, others don't know whether our submarine has a protective shield. Jiang Wanchen nodded. Master Xiao, we will study this. It shouldn't be a big problem. With China's current strength, it can't be hidden. Showing more strength will reduce the possibility of the enemy taking action. General Xia, I'm just suggesting that you decide the details. I, an ordinary citizen, will not interfere with your military's decision. I'll go back first. Xia Jiangho said in surprise, Master Xiao, are you in such a hurry? Xiaofan smiled, I can get a good sleep when I go back now. Let's go. Xiaofan flew away at high speed soon. In less than 3 hours, Xiaofan returned to Leishan County. Husband, there is something on the internet. Su Yue said. What? Xiaofan asked. Su Yue said, many public intellectuals have come out and said that it is wrong to continue to support the Dragon Empire and that such practices must be stopped. Some of them have hundreds of millions of fans. This kind of unity has a huge influence, and many people agree with their statements. Xiaofan said, is there the United States behind this? Su Yue said, there should be, but they are probably in offline contact. I haven't found any evidence on the internet. Husband, I was a little worried before. Once those public intellectuals spread the word, it is reasonable that many people oppose it. Xiaofan nodded slightly. He turned on his Douyin. In the video he shot, Xiaofan saw many messages. Husband, what should I do? Su Yue asked. Xiaofan said in a calm voice, just ignore it. As long as the country does not oppose it, they can't change anything even if they jump hard. Su Yue said, Husband, if public opinion continues to ferment, I am worried that it will have a bad impact on you. Xiaofan smiled and said, Wife, think about it from another angle. I will become the emperor of the Dragon Empire in the future. From this perspective, is the influence of public opinion good or bad for me? Su Yue thought. Soon her eyes lit up. Hubby, if you still firmly support the Dragon Empire when public opinion is very opposed, the people of the Dragon Empire will not resist you. The more public opinion opposes, the more the people of the Dragon Empire will accept you. Xiaofan smiled and nodded, that's right. We have to leave eventually. Once our strength over there increases, it will be a question whether we can come back in the future. Before leaving, just try your best to help the country improve its strength, and we don't care about anything else. Midline horizontal ellipsis chapter 522 You guys try to attack. In a blink of an eye, it was the next morning. Did anything important happen last night? The elder asked while eating breakfast. The secretary beside him said, Chief, General Xia Jiangho reported the news last night, and the test of the shield was a complete success. The shield of 055 can withstand 7 Eagle Strike 18 reflector missiles. In addition, General Xia Jiangho said that Grandmaster Xiao did not make any requests. The elder looked calm, and he got the news before arranging the shield. Since Xiaofan said that it can withstand 6 or 7 missiles, the shield of 055 can withstand 7 missiles completely in line with expectations. The cultural relics have returned home, the super-large oil field has been discovered, and now the shield of 055 has been arranged. The country owes Xiaofan more and more. The elder said with emotion. Although the country gave discounts on the things sold to Xiaofan, those discounts are far less than the benefits that Xiaofan brought to the country. Go on. The elder said. Yes, Captain. The Internet Information Department said that there are many opinions on the Internet that oppose the transmission of warships to the other world, and public opinion is fermenting rapidly. If it is allowed to develop, it may be detrimental to Master Xiao. The elder frowned slightly. Tell me in detail. Yes. The specific situation is that there are many Internet celebrities and public intellectuals who lead the trend. They think we should not intervene in the war. After listening to the secretary, the elder looked solemn. Public opinion is a beast. If it is left unchecked, it may cause problems. Ding. The elder called Xiaofan. Xiao, did I not wake you up? The elder said gently. On the other end of the phone, Xiaofan smiled and said, Elder, I'm up and having breakfast. What good news do you want to talk to me about? The elder said, Xiao Xiao, I know the news from the Navy. Thank you for your strong support for the Navy. All kinds of national machinery can be transmitted to other worlds. There is no limit to the cooperation between our China and the Dragon Empire. Xiao Fan's eyes lit up. The elder's promise is not light. Also, I wonder what you think about the public opinion on the internet. If you want to ban it, the country will do its best. It is not difficult for the country to deal with this. Xiao Fan smiled and said, Grand Elder, I think it is not a bad thing for me if public opinion ferments, and the country does not need to pay attention to it. With my fierce reputation, they should not dare to go too far. They are just leading the rhythm on the internet. Let them do whatever they want. The elder said, Xiao Xiao, I roughly understand your idea, but if the country does not take action, public opinion may get out of control. My idea is that you discovered a super large oil field and helped 055 to set up a defense shield, and the country has exposed it. So many people know the attitude of the country. Xiao Fan said, Grand Elder, this exposure is okay, but there is no need to be so anxious. 055 can go out for a walk. Okay. Xia Jiangho received instructions soon, first sending two 055s to travel around the South China Sea, first expose them, and then go to the United States for free navigation. China is far away from the United States, and the speed of public opinion fermenting on the internet is fast. The country needs to come up with something in the near future. More than 10 hours later, the two 055s went deep into the South China Sea. Attention, Chinese warships ahead, you are about to enter our waters, please turn around immediately, I repeat, please turn around immediately, a Philippine warship shouted. The South China Sea has been China's territorial waters since ancient times, and China enjoys absolute sovereignty. If you don't like it, just fire. Captain Tan Jian of one of the 055s said domineeringly. With the current strength of their warships, he is not afraid of single-handedly fighting against an aircraft carrier. The two 055s continued to move forward one after the other. Damn Chinese! The warship on the Philippine warship cursed. Captain, the Chinese warships are getting closer, what should we do? The Philippine captain did not answer. Not long after, the distance between the two sides was within 20 nautical miles, and the speed of the two 055s exceeded 40 knots at this time. Please note, Chinese warships, if you continue to move forward, we may attack, and you will be responsible for all the consequences caused by this. The Philippine captain shouted again. Tan Jian's voice came over, you can launch missiles at us, and we will not hold you responsible for this. What? The Philippine captain was dumbfounded. Captain, the other side asked us to launch, if we still don't dare, we will have no say here in the future. Captain, fight them. The men next to the Philippine captain said. Prepare the ship's guns, aim at the front of the Chinese warship and shoot. The Philippine captain gritted his teeth. He still didn't dare to fire missiles directly, so he used the naval gun to scare them first. Bang! The naval gun fired immediately. The gunner aimed at the 055, but he forgot the speed of the 055 now. When the shell reached the 055, he aimed it directly at the warship. Boom! The shell hit the defense shield and exploded in the air. Captain, the Chinese warship has a defense shield. Someone on the Philippine warship said in horror. The distance was only a dozen nautical miles, and it was clear with a telescope. Didn't I tell you to use missiles? What's the point of your naval guns? They are useless. Don't blame us for not giving you a chance. You still have a chance to fire missiles. If we meet again in the future, there will be no such opportunity. Tan Jian's mocking voice came over. 2 missiles, shoot. The Philippines asked for instructions from the top, and soon he ordered. 2 missiles took off into the air, and they were fired at the two 055s respectively. Boom. Boom. The two 055s did not dodge, and the missiles successfully hit, but both missiles were completely blocked by the defense shield. Captain, it hit, but their warships are fine. Their defense shields are enough to resist missiles. Someone in the Philippine warship reported. The Philippine captain was dumbfounded. How can he play this? Originally, China's warships were much stronger. Some time ago, the maximum speed soared to 46 knots, and now they have defense shields. If they really fight, they will only be beaten. If the Chinese warships hit them, they will probably sink them without any harm. Now you should know how powerful it is. Don't try to occupy things that don't belong to you, otherwise you will definitely not end well. Tan Jian's cold voice came over. Retreat. The Philippine captain ordered. The 2055s continued to come, and if they didn't leave, they would be sunk. Originally, they were not particularly afraid of the collision, and China would also suffer losses, but now it is likely that they will suffer unilaterally. It's comfortable. It's great that we are the only ones who beat others and they can't come after us. Thank you, Grandmaster Xiao. Tan Jian and the others were delighted. Midline horizontal ellipsis chapter 523, breaking news from Central Media, General, we are withdrawing. After leaving the 055 route, the Philippine Captain Zagaro reported the news to his superiors. What is the effect of the missile attack? General. There is no effect. Our 2 missiles hit their 2 warships respectively, and their 2 warships were not damaged at all. Zagaro reported bitterly. Got it, it's normal for you to withdraw to avoid conflict. The Philippine general who received the news was numb. After ending the communication, he sat there for a long time without any action. How can he live in the future? In the event of a conflict, the Chinese warships don't even need to fire, they can just smash them. If they fight back, the Chinese warships will be fine. If the Chinese warships attack, 1 missile can send them to the sky. Don't play like this. Everyone is developing technology, why do they come up with such fantasy methods? The Philippine general muttered to himself. In the past, their warships were more or less threatening to the Chinese warships, but now, their warships are no different from fishing boats. I'm looking for General Drawer, there is urgent military information. The general used an encrypted phone. Soon the call was connected, and the Philippine general explained the situation. The world has changed. After hanging up the phone, General Dro looked extremely solemn. No matter how strong Xiaofan was, he could not feel it. They would not conflict with Xiaofan, but the deterrence of the growing strength of the Chinese Navy was real. King, something happened. General Dro quickly found the King of the Philippines. The protective shield. This is too foul. The King of the Philippines said with a dark face. General Dro said helplessly, who said it wasn't? This must have been made by Xiaofan. China's 055 is too abnormal now. Super strong attack power, super high mobility, super strong defense, super long endurance, and their radar is also first class and powerful. In the past, our warships were at least a threat to them, but now it doesn't work whether it's missiles or direct collisions. The King of the Philippines. What do you mean? King, we may have to give up some of the islands that should be given up. China is no longer what it used to be. If we go head-on, we will suffer a great loss. The King of the Philippines frowned. If you give up, you will never come back, but what else can you do if you don't give up? A man of insight is a wise man. Call everyone and discuss it. The King of the Philippines said helplessly. King, should we tell the United States about this matter? General Drawer said. The King of the Philippines shook his head, less trouble is better than more trouble. The United States has no advantage over China now. China's 055 has a protective shield, their aircraft carrier will definitely have it, and maybe submarines will also have it. The strength of China's navy has skyrocketed. China at 7 p.m., CCTV channel. With the popularization of the internet, fewer people watch CCTV news at 7 p.m., but the population base is still there. The 2 batches of cultural relics brought back by patriots Xiaofan and Su Yue have been counted today, totaling 352,368 cultural relics of various types. A huge oil field has been discovered in the Taklamakan Desert in China, with an estimated crude oil reserve of more than 5 billion tons. The discovery of this oil field is related to Grandmaster Xiao. Recently, our Navy held a defense test, and the 055 defense shield successfully resisted missile attacks. This defense shield was set up by Grandmaster Xiao. Many people were stunned by the news briefing. There were actually 3 items related to Xiaofan. Quick, watch CCTV news. Hurry up and watch the live news, something big has happened. Brothers, hurry to check the news, Grandmaster Xiao is on the news. In a short time, the news was all over the place, and soon the relevant news became popular, and the number of people watching the news increased wildly. After watching the first one, everyone felt okay. Xiao Fan and Su Yue brought back the cultural relics, which they knew. After watching the second news, many people were shocked. Xiao Fan actually used the spirit beast he controlled to discover a super large oil field. This has great strategic significance for the country. The reduction in oil dependence is of great significance in wartime. Even in peacetime, countries with low dependence can negotiate with strength. Low dependence: if Yu Zhang-san wants to control me, I will go to Li Si's house to buy it in minutes, and the possibility of being strangled is much lower. Grandmaster Xiao did such a thing silently. Any one of them is of great significance. Some people on the internet actually started to criticize Grandmaster Xiao. Can they criticize a person like Grandmaster Xiao casually? While watching, many people communicated. Fire. The second 055 ship launched an Eagle Strike 18 anti-ship missile, and the scene was clearly recorded by the Navy's photographer. Boom. Soon the missile exploded around the number 1055 ship, and the camera here also recorded it clearly. Today, the Navy conducted a test of the 055's shield. Please see the details below. Xiao Fan did not appear in the video, but Xia Jiangho and others were interviewed. After watching this news, the news on the internet exploded. I am numb, brothers, I am numb. 055 actually has a shield. How can the enemy survive? Thumbs up to Master Xiao. A large oil field was discovered, and a shield was installed on our 055. Master Xiao did not make any requests. The greatest heroes serve the country and the people. The news spread wildly, and many netizens who didn't know about it before soon got the news. They were all shocked. It turned out that the matter of the teleportation warship was fermenting wildly on the internet. Some public intellectuals or big verses have already sprayed Xiao Fan. If public opinion continues to ferment wildly like that, there is a risk of getting out of control. Now that these news have come out, the country's attitude is very clear. It might be okay to question the teleportation warship based on the facts, but if you criticize Xiao Fan, you will probably get a few years of free food from the government. Delete the video. The internet has memory. You were very happy to criticize Master Xiao during the day, why did you delete the video now? Based on what Master Xiao has done for the country, those who criticize him are definitely not good people. Let's just curse them to death. Some people who took the lead in criticizing Xiao Fan soon tasted the bitter fruit. Countless netizens criticized them to the point of doubting their lives. But this is not the end. Soon, the police uncle came to their house to have tea. These guys often have problems and they can't stand strict investigation. Husband, there are basically no more people criticizing you, but there are a lot of comments on the internet questioning the continued teleportation of warships to other worlds. Su Yue said. Xiao Fan chuckled and said, as long as someone who maliciously slanders me gets into trouble, everyone will know about it. Discussions in this regard are reasonable and legal. With so much traffic on this, there must be a lot of people following suit. This is exactly what I want. The country has set the tone, and the fermentation of public opinion will be within a controllable range. When he sent the warship to the other world despite the doubts of countless people, what would Shen Jingtian and others in the other world think? What would the people of the Dragon Empire think? Midline horizontal ellipsis chapter 524, a big surprise from the country Ding Ling Ling. In the United States, the harsh ringing sound woke up the U.S. president. Calling so early in the morning, it would be best if there is some good news. The U.S. president answered the phone and said in a deep voice. General, China has released important news. First, China has discovered a very large oil field, and it was discovered by a spirit beast. A voice came from the microphone. Shit. The U.S. president's face darkened. This is too bad news for him. The second news had better be good news. General, China's 055 destroyer has conducted a defense test, and the defense shield arranged by Xiao Fan can withstand supersonic missile attacks. The U.S. president covered his chest. He slept late last night, and he felt a little stuffy in his chest after hearing two such news early in the morning. Is the news confirmed? General, it was their central media that took the initiative to release the news. After they released the news, the Philippines confirmed this. The phone was hung up, and soon the US president saw the relevant video. He felt a little buzzing in his head. What do you think? Not long after, the US commander-in-chief gathered the members of his think tank. Commander-in-chief, China only dealt with those who maliciously targeted Xiaofan, but did not ban the discussion of sending warships to other worlds. According to our discussion, the Chinese top leaders may oppose it, or the opinions within the Chinese top leaders are not unified. The US commander-in-chief narrowed his eyes. Can we use this to create a bigger public opinion storm around the world? Yes. As long as the warships are not sent over, the Vulture Empire is likely to win, and the relationship between the Dragon Empire and China will be broken if it loses. The US commander-in-chief said in a deep voice, then let it go. All media take action. In terms of public opinion, the influence of the United States in the world is still unparalleled. With the action of the United States, the global media is crazy about it. Originally, the news in this regard was quite hot. With this hype, the related news has exploded, and billions of people around the world oppose it. Global news will also have an impact on the country. With such hot news abroad, there are more related discussions in the country. Countless people called on Xiaofan to come out and explain something. But Xiaofan did not speak, and the Chinese officials also remained silent. In another world, 2 more super fleets from the Vulture Empire came over. They already had 6 super fleets in total, and the 2 fleets that came later brought 150,000 land soldiers. The Vulture Empire had a total of 300,000 naval forces and 250,000 land soldiers on the side of the Blood Cherry Empire. The original 4 fleets had 300,000 soldiers, of which 100,000 were land soldiers brought from major bases. A level 6 super fleet with a total force of 550,000 is a very strong strength. Your Majesty, this is the situation. The situation in the Blood Cherry Empire is grim, and there are now huge voices opposing the transmission of warships to us on the other side of the earth. We must be prepared to lose the war. In the Divine Capital Palace, a minister in the court said solemnly. Many other ministers also spoke up. They did feel the pressure. If China is under great pressure from public opinion and warships and submarines are no longer transmitted, the strength of their navy will not be able to increase as much as before. Currently, under the strong pressure of the Vulture Empire's navy, the Dragon Empire's navy can only retreat to the near sea, and it is difficult for them to go to the Blood Cherry Empire. If the situation of the Blood Cherry Empire is not good, some other countries may choose to form an alliance with the Vulture Empire, and the pressure will be even greater. Quiet. After everyone talked for a while, Xiao Hai said in a deep voice. Although China is facing great pressure, I believe that China will definitely send warships and submarines here. In the future, there will be cargo ships of 4,000 to 5,000 tons sent here. Once we transform those cargo ships, they will become top warships. Xiao Hai said in a deep voice. 2 days later, Xiaofan arrived at the East China Sea base. General Xia, why are you here too? Xiaofan said in surprise. Xia Jiangho was the person in charge of the South China Sea base, and he was actually at the East China Sea base. Xia Jiangho smiled and said, Master Xiao, after discussions between our military and the upper echelons, we decided to give you a surprise. What surprise? Xiaofan asked in confusion. Xia Jiangho smiled and said, you will know soon. Soon Xiaofan and his men arrived at the seaside. Master Xiao, these warships are half sold and half given to you. There are a total of 30 warships, and there are 5 submarines under the water. Yang Zhenghua said with a smile. Xiaofan said in a daze, General Yang, General Xia, are you kidding? Some of these warships have not been retired yet. Yang Zhenghua smiled and said, it takes a lot of time to repair and maintain them after they are retired. I can't give you such a surprise in a short time. 5 of these warships are over 3,000 tons, and the rest are only over 2,000 tons. To be honest, we are a little disappointed. Especially since you changed the 055, these little sweeties in the past have now become Mrs. Niu, and their retirement will be advanced. Xiaofan's eyes showed excitement. This surprise is really big enough. 30 warships and 5 submarines, if this is passed to another world, his grandfather will smile crookedly. Over 3,000 tons, if the formation is well arranged, it will be a top warship. Master Xiao, the Great Elder personally approved the retirement of these warships. Their retirement will not affect the strength of our navy at all. Xia Jiangho smiled. Thank you. Xiao Fan took a deep breath and said, 10 of these warships have been retired and repaired long ago. Simply passing these 10 ships over will not have much impact on the situation. 30 ships plus 5 submarines would have a big impact. Especially among them, there are 5 ships with tonnage exceeding 3,000 tons. Master Xiao, are you still being hypocritical? Haha. Master Xiao, you can help us modify a few more warships when the time comes. Xia Jiangho and the others laughed. They didn't feel bad at all when these warships were retired. They were even very happy. To them, these were already small things. If these were given to Xiao Fan, the country would definitely give them new, larger, and newer warships in the future. Wouldn't they be better than these small things? General Xia, General Yang, do you want to go fishing on Penglai Island? Xiao Fan smiled. The spiritual energy there is now more abundant than in other places, and the fish are very plump. Fishing there is a great enjoyment. Yang Jinghua and Xia Jiangho's eyes lit up. If they build a relationship with Xiao Fan, maybe he can help them strengthen a few more ships. Master Xiao, of course we have no problem, but we have a special status. We have to tell the elder before we go fishing with you. Yang Jinghua laughed. Xiao Fan nodded. This was what he should do. He called the elder directly, and the elder agreed. The elder knew Xiao Fan's identity. Xiao Fan would be the emperor of the Dragon Empire in the future, and he would not have any idea about the power in China. Okay. Xiao Fan said with a smile. 30 warships and 5 submarines set off. Xiao Fan and Yang Jinghua also set off. They took a helicopter to Penglai Island. Penglai Island is the island filled up by the East China Sea Lingxue. The whole island is now larger, and there are flowers and trees on the island. Thanks to the abundant spiritual energy, the plants are growing very lush. General, there is a situation in China. The Chief of Staff of the U.S. General quickly entered his office. I don't think it's good news. Let me take it easy. The U.S. General took a deep breath and took a box of antihypertensive drugs from the drawer. He quickly took one. Go ahead. General, 30 Chinese warships are heading to Penglai Island. Public opinion seems to have the opposite effect. The Chief of Staff said solemnly. Midline horizontal ellipsis chapter 525 Shanghai and others surprise. What? The face of the U.S. Commander-in-Chief changed. 30 warships went to Penglai Island. China not only did not prohibit it, but also increased its support for the Dragon Empire. Commander-in-Chief, maybe the Dragon Empire has reached some agreement with China. Xiao Fan helped to set up the formation, and China provided warships. The Chief of Staff said in a deep voice. The U.S. Commander-in-Chief said gloomily, hold a press conference immediately to condemn China's irresponsible behavior. Commander-in-Chief, I'm afraid it won't be of much use. We must condemn it to show our attitude. Soon the United States held a press conference, and many media around the world also took action, but China ignored it. The elder knew very well that the Dragon Empire had huge benefits if it won over China. As for the threat of the Vulture Empire, it was a world away. Besides, the Vulture Empire could threaten China, and China was not without countermeasures. Did they really think those mushroom bombs were just decorations? Many people in China were worried about the story of the farmer and the snake, but the elder knew that such a thing would not happen. The current emperor and future emperor of the Dragon Empire are all Chinese. Haha, I caught another one. Old Yang, you have to work harder. Xia Jianghua laughed. Xiao Fan and his friends were fishing on Penglai Island, and Xia Jianghua had already caught several. Yang Jinghua said sullenly, you took all the benefits. Xia Jianghua said, why do you sound sour? Master Xiao, what do you think? Xiao Fan smiled and said, General Yang, I will definitely help you in the future. Now I just prioritize the deployment of 055. That's good. Master Xiao, you don't know, those people in my base are very envious, and they come to me every day to talk about it. Yang Jinghua said. The 055 of the northern base ran to 46 knots, and the one of the southern base not only ran to 46 knots, but also had a protective shield. Many people in the East China Sea base were envious and their eyes were red. Xia Jiangho said, "Old Yang, you have to think about it. The second batch of 055, the third aircraft carrier, is likely to be deployed on your side. And by then, Master Xiao will be more capable and the formation he arranges will be more powerful. Your aircraft carrier may be able to resist nuclear bombs." Yang Zhenghua. Xiaofan muttered in his heart. By then, he would have gone to another world, but even so, he could send people back. Husband, the United States held a press conference to condemn it. The Chinese side said that the purchase agreement was signed before the war broke out. In addition, China is trading with you. As for who you trade with, it is your business. The country will not intervene at the national level. Su Yuwei's voice sounded in Xiaofan's earphone. Xiaofan smiled faintly. The United States had such a reaction, but it could not change anything. If they had the guts, they would destroy the 30 warships. If the United States dared to do so, they would have to pay him an aircraft carrier fleet. After catching a lot of fish, Xiaofan and Yang Zhenghua enjoyed a full fish feast on Penglai Island, and then Yang Zhenghua and his friends left. Dong dong. It was late at night, and the mirror next to Xiaofan rang. Xiaofan looked over. Xiao Hai's figure was in the mirror, and so were Shen Jingtian and many others. "My dear grandson, 2 or 3 days ago we got the news that you and Huaguo were under great pressure from public opinion, and many people in the court were worried. Grandpa told them about your relationship." Xiao Hai smiled. Only a few people knew Xiaofan's identity before, but now there are 20 or 30 people behind Xiao Hai, and each of them is very important. There are more than so many people attending the morning court, and Xiao Hai only selected some. "Meet your highness." Shen Jingtian and others were the first to take the lead in saluting. "Hello, your highness." The rest of the people also saluted. Xiaofan nodded, "No need to be polite. Grandpa, the situation over there seems to be more tense." Xiao Hai said in a deep voice, "It's not dangerous for the time being, but the situation is indeed a bit tense. The 6 super fleets of the Vulture Empire are over there. Many people still have a shadow in their hearts about the fleets of the Vulture Empire, not to mention that now 6 powerful super fleets have gathered together. Under the current situation, it is not convenient for our navy to move. They now have 250,000 land soldiers and 300,000 navy soldiers over there. They control the sea power and can send more troops at any time. In addition, if the situation is not favorable to us, the other evil wolves will also join." Xiaofan nodded. The Vulture Empire has many allies in the other world. It is because the Dragon Empire is very strong and the firearms are terrible that they dare not act rashly. If they take action, it will not be difficult to gather 1,000,000 troops. Shen Jingtian said, "Your Highness, we need more warships." The others also looked at Xiaofan expectantly. The Dragon Empire is rising, but if it is jointly suppressed by the Vulture Empire, the navy may be unable to recover again. No matter how strong the army is, if the navy is not good, the influence cannot spread out, and at most it can only affect neighboring countries. "My dear grandson, are there warships?" Xiao Hai asked. He was a little unsure. After all, global public opinion on Earth is boiling, and the pressure is definitely not small. In this case, it is possible that China will no longer provide warships. Xiaofan smiled and said, "Grandpa, of course. This time there are a total of 30 warships and 5 submarines. Among them, there are 5 warships with a tonnage of more than 3,000 tons, all about 3,500 tons, and the tonnage of the submarines is larger than before." After Xiaofan finished speaking, Xiao Hai and the others were stunned. "My dear grandson, what did you say?" Xiao Hai said in disbelief. Xiaofan smiled and said, "Grandpa, you heard it right. 30 warships and 5 submarines. The country has directly retired some warships that have not been retired." Shen Jingtian and the others were shocked. China actually retired many warships that have not been retired to support them. They have to appreciate this favor. Of course, Huaguo did this because of the relationship between Xiaofan and Xiao Hai, otherwise it would be a dream to have such strong support. "My dear grandson, ask the elder when it is convenient for him, so that Grandpa can meet him and thank him in person." Xiao Hai said seriously. Xiaofan nodded, "Grandpa, I will communicate with the elder." Let's send the battleship over first. Xiao Fan soon opened the Spirit Cave channel. The Spirit Cave here is still S-level, but it has been strengthened a lot compared to before. The two worlds are merging, and the strengthening of the Spirit Cave is the trend. One by one, the warships moved forward, and after approaching the huge mirror, the warships were pulled through the mirror by Xiao Hai's power. Soon the first warship of more than 3,000 tons was sent over. Compared with aircraft carriers and 10,000-ton destroyers, such warships are quite small, but in the eyes of Shen Jingtian and others, they are already top warships. As long as the formation is well arranged, it can completely compete with the top warships of the secret Vulture Empire. The second one, the third one, an hour later, all the warships and submarines were teleported over. Even with Shen Jingtian and the others' full support, Xiao Hai was exhausted. My dear grandson, contact the Spirit Cave in Leishan County in 5 days. Xiao Hai said. Your Highness, take care. Shen Jingtian and the others said in unison. Xiao Fan nodded, and Xiao Hai and the others disappeared. Midline Horizontal Ellipsis Chapter 526, Whoever dares to interfere will be destroyed. In the other world, Xiao Hai's eyes swept over many people including Shen Jingtian. Are you still worried? Xiao Hai said with a smile. Your Majesty, we already have a top-notch battleship. After these 5 are modified, we will have 6 top-notch battleships. The number of first-class battleships will reach 72, and submarines will reach 12. What are we worried about with this strength? Shen Jingtian said, and they all laughed from ear to ear. It was such a big surprise. Their situation was equivalent to someone suddenly sending China 5 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, 20 or 30 large destroyers, and 5 top-notch submarines. Your Highness should have done a lot. That's for sure, otherwise China would not be so generous. The others spoke one after another. After a while, Xiao Hai coughed lightly and said, these battleships cannot be modified all at once, so we still can't be careless. In addition, even if these battleships come out, our navy is still behind the Vulture Empire Navy. You must be clear about this. Shen Jingtian and the others nodded. Xiao Hai smiled and said, let's hurry back and invite some envoys from other countries to visit. If they want to get involved in the conflict between us and the Vulture Empire, I will let them know the taste of destroying a country and a race. Xiao Hai and his companions left soon. 2 or 3 hours later, Xiao Fan and his companions returned to the divine capital. Xiao Hai released a huge warship in the space treasure. 30 warships and 5 submarines were put out together, with great impact force. Many people here were shocked. So many. A top formation master said in shock. Xiao Hai smiled and said, you probably can't finish it in one batch. You can decide whether to divide it into 2 or 3 batches. I only have one request, to make our warships as strong as possible. Your Majesty, don't worry. We have a lot of experience. With the same tonnage of warships, we are not much weaker than the Vulture Empire. This top formation master said. Xiao Hai nodded, that's good. If the warships you make are stronger, our soldiers will die less. When we win, we will reward you together. Thank you, Your Majesty. Everyone around saluted. 2 hours later, envoys from many countries gathered in Xingjing City. What is going on? It should be that the Dragon Empire wants to warn our country not to participate in the war. If the situation continues to develop, it will be unfavorable for the Dragon Empire. Many envoys communicated secretly. They knew the situation on the Blood Cherry Empire side. The Vulture Empire came with 6 super battleships and gathered hundreds of thousands of troops. Most of these envoys are more pro-Vulture Empire. In the past 100 years, the strength of the Vulture Empire has been stronger than that of the Dragon Empire. Please follow me. An official from the Dragon Empire came. Half an hour later, this official from the Dragon Empire led these envoys into an area tightly sealed by a barrier. Hiss. When they got here, they soon saw huge warships. When they really got close, warships of more than 2,000 tons were also huge monsters. Everyone, these warships and submarines are being renovated, and they will be launched soon. I let you know this because I don't want your country to make the wrong decision. Shen Jingtian came out of one of the warships and said, His Majesty said that if other villains get involved when we are at war with the Vulture Empire, we will destroy their country and their race. Hiss. Many people took a breath of cold air after hearing what Shen Jingtian said. General Shen, if those relatively large warships are renovated, will they be top warships? Someone asked. Shen Jingtian said calmly, of course, by then our Shenlong Empire will have 6 top warships, but this is not the end. Maybe it won't take too long, we will have dozens of top warships. Everyone was shocked. Some people silently calculated that when these warships are ready, the strength of the Shenlong Empire's navy will be almost half of that of the Vulture Empire. This is already very amazing. In the past, the strength of the Shenlong Empire's navy was not even 1% of that of the Vulture Empire. The Vulture Empire has interests in many places around the world, and its homeland also needs defense, so it is impossible to send all the warships here. Everyone, our Shenlong Empire army is the best in the world, and we have all kinds of powerful firearms. Don't make mistakes. With the strength of our Shenlong Empire navy by then, we can send hundreds of thousands of troops to other countries at one time. Shen Jingtian said calmly. The envoys were trembling when they heard it. The power of the Shura core of the Dragon Empire is well known. Who can bear to send hundreds of thousands of troops to other countries at a time? General Shen, don't worry, our country will not intervene in the war. Our country will not intervene either. Everyone spoke up. They are just envoys, and they may not be able to represent the emperor of their country, but there is no problem for them to say something good first. The emperor of their country is unlikely to participate in the war. Very good. Shen Jingtian nodded, you can get close to feel it, so that some of you will not suspect that this is just an illusion. Half an hour later, the envoys left. They quickly spread the news. At the same time, the news also spread in Xingjing City. Countless people were overjoyed. Even if these warships cannot participate in the war immediately, their appearance will definitely make other countries dare not interfere blindly. Facing only the Vulture Empire, the pressure is much less. Swoosh. Soon, a martial emperor-level strongman from the Vulture Empire flew to the Blood Cherry Empire, and she landed on a warship in the ocean. This warship has a displacement of more than 3,800 tons, and is the largest tonnage among the 6 top warships that the United States has now come. General Lewis, there is something going on. The Flying Emperor Wu said in a deep voice. Judy, bad news. General Lewis said. Judy, who came to report the news, looked solemn. General Lewis, the Shenlong Empire has obtained 30 warships and 5 submarines. And after 5 of the warships are modified, they are likely to be top warships. Judy said in a deep voice. What? General Lewis's face changed. The Shenlong Empire only got a dozen warships and submarines in total. And there was only one of more than 3,000 tons. Is the news accurate? Another person asked. Judy nodded. The Shenlong Empire invited envoys from various countries to see it, it's true. The Shenlong Empire has no need to lie about such things. General Lewis said in a deep voice, it won't be long before the news comes from the earth, they really don't need to lie. It seems we have to hurry up. Before their batch of warships is launched, we will win. Midline Horizontal Ellipsis Chapter 527, 400,000 troops landing. The Dragon Empire received 30 warships and 5 submarines, which brought great pressure to General Lewis and his men. General, we have 6 top warships here, and the Dragon Empire will also have 6 top warships, but they have more first-class warships. They can have 72 first-class warships, and they also have 12 powerful submarines. We may need support. A general next to Lewis said. Their 6 super fleets have a total of 62 first-class warships, which originally exceeded the first-class warships of the Dragon Empire. Damn China, damn Xiaofan. Lewis gritted his teeth. Unless there is a complete national war, I'm afraid there will be no more fleets coming. Lewis said in a deep voice. The Vulture Empire is a maritime power country, and they need to take into account their interests in various places. Among the remaining 7 fleets, 1 is under maintenance and needs to be rearranged, and various damaged parts are needed. The other 6 fleets, 3 are guarding the homeland, and these 3 fleets are also resting at the same time, and the other 3 are in 3 key areas. If the interests on this side are more important, if a complete national war breaks out, the Vulture Empire will definitely mobilize fleets, but it has not reached that stage yet. General, where are the land soldiers? Even if there is no fleet coming, there should be more land soldiers, right? Lewis frowned. We only have 600,000 or 700,000 land forces in total, and they are scattered in many bases. 250,000 is not a small number. There are no enemy countries around the Vulture Empire. Originally, there were 300,000 in the mainland, and 300,000 or 400,000 in bases around the world. Now 50,000 have been drawn from the mainland, and 200,000 have been drawn from other bases around the world. Their original idea was not bad. As long as they gain a certain advantage, many other allied countries will join the war. Those countries can send out 1 million troops in total. If they recruit many vassal troops from the Blood Sakura Empire, their total number of soldiers can exceed 2 million by then. Now it is estimated that the other countries cannot be relied on. The strength shown by the Dragon Empire is too strong. Xiao Hai also said that whoever dares to help them will be destroyed. General, if it doesn't work, we can only draw some people from the navy. Otherwise, 250,000 people are really not enough. The general next to Lewis said in a deep voice. Lewis looked at the map in front of him. On the Blood Sakura Island, the Dragon Empire now has 180,000 people, and Chang Sakura Island also has 120,000. The Dragon Empire also controls 500,000 vassal troops of the Blood Sakura Empire. Of these 500,000 vassal troops, 300,000 are on Blood Sakura Island and 200,000 are on Chang Sakura Island. There is no obvious weakness in their distribution. Draw 150,000 naval soldiers to form a powerful army of 400,000. Take Chang Sakura Island first. We must win the first battle. Lewis said in a deep voice. Originally, he was not in a hurry. If China on the Earth did not send warships anymore, perhaps other countries would soon join forces with them. They could save many lives. Now it is no longer possible. It is not good for them to continue to delay time. Yes. They acted quickly. There were 6 super fleets and hundreds of warships. They sent 400,000 soldiers to Chang Sakura Island at one time. The area where their warships approached did not suppress their strength, otherwise they would suffer huge losses before they landed. Quick, quick. Hurry up, boys. Let's win this battle early and rush back to celebrate the God Festival. Alexander, the general of the Vulture Empire, said. He is the top boss of the army, and he commands 400,000 people. 400,000 people left the warships as quickly as possible. They were all relaxed and felt that they would definitely win the battle. On the one hand, their general concealed something and told them that they would definitely win. On the other hand, the Vulture Empire has been strong for too long, and the Dragon Empire was just average before, so their impression of it still remains in the past. The Dragon Empire had previously defeated the Black Tiger Empire, the Sky Luo Empire, and the Blood Cherry Empire, but these news were not detailed. In the Vulture Empire, these news were not widely spread, and the Emperor of the Vulture Empire did not want to boost the prestige of the Dragon Empire. Man, do you think we can really rush back to celebrate the Heavenly God Festival? It's not a big problem. Don't look at the fact that the Dragon Empire won before, that's because they haven't encountered such a strong opponent as us. That's right. The people of the Black Tiger Empire are just reckless men, the people of the Sky Luo Empire are trash, and the people of the Blood Cherry Empire are less than 5 feet tall. Our Vulture Empire's warriors are the strongest. Many soldiers talked about it, and they were very eager to fight. As the world's #1 power, they have accumulated strong self-confidence for a long time, and they did not take the Dragon Empire seriously. Let's go. All 400,000 people got off the ship, and Alexander quickly ordered to set off. With the food in the space treasure, there is no need to worry about logistics. What they have to do now is to seize the time to occupy the territory. After occupying a certain territory, they can recruit soldiers in this area, and they can recruit adult males crazily. As for how many people died in the Blood Sakura Empire and whether the country will collapse in the future, the people of the Vulture Empire will not care so much. On this point, the Dragon Empire and the Vulture Empire have a consensus. General, the people of the Vulture Empire really came to our side. A strongman came to Meng Yi and reported. Li Anrong commanded the army on the Blood Sakura Island, and Meng Yi now commanded the army on the Chang Sakura Island. A smile appeared on his face. Sure enough, they came here. It's time for us to make great contributions. Meng Yi smiled and said, if the Vulture Empire is defeated, there may be no war for a long time in the future, and it will be difficult to make contributions. All the generals under his command nodded. How many troops do they have? General Meng, the distance is too far to judge too accurately, but it must be more than 300,000, it should be between 300,000 and 500,000. Meng Yi smiled lightly and said, it seems that they are anxious. Some of the Navy soldiers are now directly used as the army. It takes more time to train Navy soldiers, which is a bit uneconomical. General, they are very likely to adopt the tactic of dispersing and separatism. After occupying the territory, they will expand their vassal army crazily. Our artillery shells are not very effective against such tactics. The generals beside Meng Yi said in a deep voice. Yeah. Meng Yi nodded slightly. The current situation is different from before. In the past, whether it was the Black Tiger Empire, the Tianlua Kingdom, or the Blood Sakura Empire, they were all on the enemy's own territory, and they couldn't mess around. The Vulture Empire doesn't care about that. They just dispersed and frantically captured able-bodied men. In this situation, where can mortars, howitzers, etc. be fired? The generals frowned. Meng Yi glanced over and chuckled, after using firearms for a long time, have you forgotten how to fight? Look at you, what are you wearing? The Vulture Empire Navy is all cloth armor, and you are wearing heavy armor. In this situation, do we have any reason to fear them? Everyone's eyes lit up. Their 120,000 people are all heavily armored. Although they only have 30,000 war horses, the defense of heavy armor is there without war horses. Everyone, in the next battle, our casualties will definitely be higher than before, but victory will definitely belong to us. The entire army, move out, let's fight them. Meng Yi said murderously. Midline horizontal ellipsis chapter 528, the war with the Vulture Empire begins 2 days later. The people of the Vulture Empire had penetrated hundreds of miles. They had dispersed and were capturing the men of the Blood Cherry Empire everywhere. The soldiers of the Dragon Empire moved towards them and also advanced about 100 miles. The distance between the two armies was less than 100 kilometers. It would take a long time for infantry to pass this distance, but the cavalry could pass it in 2 or 3 hours. It is worth mentioning that the Vulture Empire also had cavalry, with a number of more than 40,000, but they were all light cavalry. Soldiers, the Vulture Empire is on the other side of the world, but they brazenly sent troops here. They stretched their hands too far. Tell me, what should we do? Meng Yi roared. In front of him were 30,000 Shura iron cavalry. Kill, kill, kill. 30,000 Shura iron cavalry soldiers roared in unison, and the terrifying murderous aura swept all around. Half a minute later, Meng Yi pressed his hands. The shouting and killing stopped quickly. The people of the Vulture Empire are now scattered. They are wantonly conscripting men. They think that our artillery shells are useless. They forgot that we are Shura. Even if we don't use bombs, we are their nightmare. Meng Yi roared again. Shura, Shura, Shura. The momentum of the 30,000 Shura Legion soldiers rose again. Soldiers, you have armor to protect you, comrades behind you, and a powerful country behind you. The people of the Vulture Empire actually want to defeat us quickly and go back to celebrate the God Festival. They are dreaming. Let's let them know who is the invincible and invincible army next. After Meng Yi finished speaking, the morale of the 30,000 soldiers reached its peak. Fight, fight, fight. The overwhelming fighting spirit seemed to condense into substance. All troops, listen to my order. Go. Meng Yi roared, and the warhorse under him moved forward quickly. Boom. Boom. The 30,000 warhorses began to gallop, and the earth was shaking. The warhorses in the other world can move forward dozens of kilometers per hour without any problem, and their endurance is much stronger than that of the ones on Earth. The distance of 100 kilometers between the two armies is not long. General, 30,000 cavalrymen of the Shura Legion are rushing over. At their speed, they will make contact in a little over an hour. Alexander got the news soon. Both sides now have many powerful warriors at the level of Martial Emperor. Order, our cavalry to attack. Use the kite tactic. Their heavy cavalry is not as fast as us. Alexander said in a deep voice. Soon their 40,000 cavalrymen rushed forward. In about an hour, the cavalrymen of both sides had already made contact. 30,000 heavy cavalrymen against 40,000 light cavalrymen. One side has a strong defense, while the other side has more numbers and is more flexible. Ignore them. Let's move forward quickly along the road. They think this is a grassland. Their advantage of flexibility cannot be brought into play at all. Meng Yi ordered. It is not good for them to fight with light cavalry. Yes. 30,000 soldiers shouted in unison. Meng Yi is a powerful warrior at the level of martial emperor, and he does not suppress his strength. His words were clearly heard by all the soldiers on the advance. Boom. Boom. 30,000 heavily armored cavalry advanced at an overwhelming speed. The light cavalry of the Vulture Empire could only avoid them, but they could not keep up with the speed. Swish. 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 Many sharp arrows were shot at Meng Yi and his men, but most of these arrows were blocked, and Meng Yi and his men suffered very few casualties. In comparison, the casualties of the Vulture Empire were much higher. When the two sides shot at each other, the side with stronger armor naturally had many advantages. Damn it! The general on the Vulture Empire side cursed in his heart. After a round of arrow rain, the Dragon Empire had only dozens of casualties, and basically no one died. Their vital parts were well protected. Hundreds of people were shot by arrows and many died on the opposing side. It seems that our bows and arrows are not superior. The Dragon Empire is different from some of our previous opponents. The soldiers of the Vulture Empire soon discovered the problem. Relying on the strong national strength, their bows and arrows usually shot farther when they faced the enemy in the past, but now this advantage is gone. Even the soldiers of the Dragon Empire shot farther. Throw bombs in the back to prevent them from chasing. Meng Yi sent a voice order. Boom. Boom. The strong men in the back took out bombs from the space treasures one by one, and the bombs exploded quickly, blowing deep holes in the road. If they destroyed the road, the rules of heaven and earth would have a great impact on them, but using bombs would not have this problem. Damn, how can we chase them? The people of the Vulture Empire were soon dumbfounded. The bomb place was not easy to pass on both sides. By the time they passed, the people of the Dragon Empire had already run far away. General, why don't we attack the infantry of the Dragon Empire? That's the only way. The 40,000 cavalry of the Vulture Empire simply stopped chasing. Even if they chased after them, the people of the Dragon Empire could easily destroy the road, and they would have to spend a lot of time passing the bombed area. Want to attack our infantry? Meng Yi sneered. Their infantry is not so easy to deal with. Each of the 90,000 infantrymen has a bow and arrow, and mortars can also be used. If their people were so easy to deal with, the Black Tiger Empire would not have been so miserable at the beginning, because the Black Tiger Empire had a lot of cavalry. G. The 30,000 Shura iron cavalry continued to advance. Alexander and his men soon received news from the front. At this time, they had no time to gather the team. 10 people in a squad, 100 people in a squadron, and 1,000 people in a battalion, disperse and kill the people of the Vulture Empire. Let them know how powerful our Shura iron cavalry is. Meng Yi ordered. Yes. The Shura iron cavalry acted quickly. They were all veterans who had experienced many battles. On the Vulture Empire side, the soldiers actually had no experience in such large-scale legionary battles, and many of them came from the navy. When the navy arrived on land, they actually didn't know much about how to fight. Guys, kill them. Let them know how powerful our Vulture Empire warriors are. Soon some Vulture Empire soldiers found a small group of Shura Legion soldiers, and they quickly surrounded and killed them. Good. The warhorses accelerated forward. Soon the two sides approached. Dang! Dang! Many sharp arrows shot at the Shura Legion soldiers, many arrows missed, and those that hit were basically blocked by armor. Swish! Swish! 2 rounds of sharp arrows from the Shura Legion soldiers took the lives of more than 10 people. Puff! Puff! Soon the two sides entered into a hand-to-hand fight. The soldiers who were close to the Vulture Empire found that the enemy was sitting so high on the horse that they could hardly attack. The Shura Legion soldiers' spears could easily harvest them. How do we fight this? Run, run. In less than 2 minutes, the Vulture Empire began to collapse. In just 2 minutes, only 3 people from the Dragon Empire were injured, but they had already lost 30 or 40 people. The same situation was happening in many places. Relying on their large numbers, many soldiers of the Vulture Empire were full of confidence, but when they started fighting, they found that the gap was so big. It was too difficult to kill the heavily armored cavalry who were armed to the teeth. Even if 20 of them died, they might not be able to kill one. Midline horizontal ellipsis chapter 529, Fear of the Vulture Empire soldiers, everyone, listen up, retreat, gather together. A martial emperor from the Vulture Empire could not help but shout. His divine sense could cover a relatively long distance, and the situation within this range was not optimistic. Their soldiers were slaughtered quickly. If dozens or hundreds of infantrymen used tactics well and coordinated well, they would not necessarily suffer a loss against 10 heavy cavalry. But he found that their soldiers had no tactics or coordination at all, and basically charged in a mess. Without coordination, without tactics, charging randomly against heavy armored cavalry, how could they get any good results? Their attacks were difficult to break through the defense. After some people were hacked to death, their people became more chaotic. Some retreated, some rushed forward, and sometimes they even bumped into each other. Swish. Swish. The sound of breaking through the air sounded, and several martial emperors from the Dragon Empire quickly advanced, and they approached the martial emperor who had just shouted. Not good. The face of the martial emperor who shouted changed. Kill. The martial emperor who was approaching the Dragon Empire attacked fiercely. Boom. In the sky, a thunder dragon hundreds of meters long crossed the sky and blasted towards the martial emperor of the Vulture Empire. Boom. The thunder dragon was very fast and hit the target accurately. Countless thunder snakes exploded around the martial emperor of the Vulture Empire. Die. Before he could catch his breath, a sword beam hundreds of meters long came across the sky. Puff. Under the sword beam, the martial emperor of the Vulture Empire did not die, but he spit out blood from his mouth and was seriously injured. He is mine. The black spear cut through the sky, and the spear came with a force of 10,000 kilograms, and the chest of the martial emperor of the Vulture Empire was pierced. No, the eyes of the martial emperor were wide open. He was going to die here. Swish. Swish. The nearby Vulture Empire immediately had strong men rushing over. But the Shenlong Empire also had strong men coming, and there were more of them. The population was much larger, and the Shenlong Empire had more top strong men, and the Blood Cherry Empire was much closer to the Shenlong Empire. The Dragon Empire can deploy more strong men here, and they can go back in time if something happens in the country, but the Vulture Empire is not so convenient. Should we take action? Forget it, the Vulture Empire is not in an advantageous position. If we take action, we may not end up well. Some strong men from other countries discussed in secret. Some of them were invited by the strong men of the Vulture Empire. If the situation is favorable to the Vulture Empire, they may take action. But now it is the Dragon Empire that has the upper hand. Don't be stingy with treasures, fight back with all your strength. A strongman from the Vulture Empire shouted. As he said that, he immediately used a powerful war symbol. This thing is disposable, and using it can greatly improve one's strength. Boom. Boom. The other strong men of the Vulture Empire began to make moves one after another, and the balance of the war returned to balance. Strong men from both sides continued to die. The Vulture Empire has dominated the world for many years, and their financial resources are undoubtedly stronger, and they have many more treasures of various kinds. The strong men of the Dragon Empire cannot compare with this for the time being. Brothers, kill, kill. The generals are fighting for their lives, we must quickly eliminate the enemy. A centurion from the Shenlong Empire on the ground shouted. Kill. Kill. Many warrior kings, warrior emperors, and warrior emperors in the sky were killing like crazy, and fierce battles were also going on in many places on the ground. G. At the same time, 40,000 light cavalry approached the 90,000 infantry of the Shenlong Empire, and there were also 200,000 vassal troops of the Blood Cherry Empire. Reload, fire. On the side of the Dragon Empire, thousands of mortars flew out. Damn, so many can't be intercepted. A strongman in the Vulture Empire cavalry changed his face. Ha! Many of their strong men intercepted the mortar shells, but many of their masters had left to participate in the battle, and the number of strong men to intercept was not enough. Thousands of mortar shells were bombarded from different directions, different heights, and different distances, and it was not so easy to intercept. Boom. Boom. Many mortar shells fell to the ground, and many cavalrymen and war horses were injured or killed around. A large number of war horses rushed forward frantically after being frightened. Good timing. A general on the Dragon Empire side said in his heart. They buried a lot of mines underground. If the enemy moves slowly, the mines are likely to be discovered. Now the enemy's strong men are too busy. And a large number of war horses rushed forward in fear, and they didn't have time to check. Boom. Boom. Soon many mines exploded underground, and many people and war horses were killed, which caused more war horses to run wildly in fear. Everyone, listen up, shoot. The 200,000 Blood Cherry Empire's vassal troops were equipped with bows and arrows, and in an instant, 200,000 sharp arrows shot at the Vulture Empire's cavalry. There were heavy armored warriors around these Blood Cherry Empire people. They didn't shoot arrows, but each of them held a sharp long knife in their hands. As long as the Blood Cherry Empire's people dared to mess around, they would kill them immediately. The archers were approached by the heavy armored warriors, and there was no chance of resistance at all. If they rebelled, they would definitely die. Puff. Puff. 200,000 sharp arrows shot over, and many people on the Vulture Empire side were hit by arrows. There were mortar bombardments in the back, mines were unknown somewhere underground, and there were also a large number of bows and arrows shooting in front. The 40,000 cavalry of the Vulture Empire were very frustrated. The war horses were in a mess in the explosion, and they couldn't organize a charge. Shoot, shoot. Shoot all the arrows. If the enemy doesn't die, you will die if you rush over. The strongmen of the Dragon Empire said sternly. Under their supervision, the people of the Blood Cherry Empire shot arrows crazily, and these arrows took the lives of many Vulture Empire soldiers. Without armor, many people in the Blood Cherry Empire were shot and killed, but the soldiers of the Dragon Empire did not suffer much loss, as they had heavy armor for defense. Retreat, retreat. The generals of the Vulture Empire soon shouted. The attack of the Dragon Empire was too fierce, and they suffered a small half of casualties in a short period of time. If they continued, they would all die here. I didn't expect the Vulture Empire to fail here. Isn't this normal? Can 40,000 light cavalry take advantage of 90,000 heavy armored soldiers and 200,000 vassal troops? Even if there are only 90,000 heavy armored soldiers, the Vulture Empire cannot take any advantage when the two sides shoot at each other. Some strong men from other countries secretly discussed. Everyone listen to the order, kill. Don't let them run away. The people of the Vulture Empire wanted to escape, and countless people from the Dragon Empire rushed up quickly, and soon many people seized the war horses. Without war horses, the armored soldiers have strong defense, but not enough speed. With war horses, speed is no longer a weakness. Puff. Puff. The ground was full of potholes and the enemy couldn't run fast. In a head-on confrontation, the light cavalry of the Vulture Empire encountered the experienced heavy cavalry, and they had no choice but to be slaughtered. Run, run quickly. Damn it, I won't come to this damn place again. Many people in the Vulture Empire cried for their parents, they were extremely terrified. Midline horizontal ellipsis chapter 530, top battleships can fly. 20,000 people fled in panic, and many cavalrymen chased them. Not long after, the people of the Vulture Empire entered a valley, where giant bombs had been placed underground in advance. It was not difficult for the strong men of the Dragon Empire to place bombs ahead of them. Now, as the front of the Vulture Empire's troops approached, a terrifying explosion sounded, and a huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky. Ah! The power of the explosion directly blew up many people in front, and those who were a little further away were also blown away by the shock wave. Boom! Boom! After the first explosion, several explosions sounded in succession. Each of these fuel air bombs could affect an area of several hundred meters. Surrender immediately, Otherwise you will all die here. You are 200 miles away from the seaside. You can't hold on to the seaside. You may not even be able to escape from this valley. Surrender, you can go back alive. The 4,000 or 5,000 heavy armored cavalrymen of the Dragon Empire who had seized horses rushed over. If more bombs were used, it would be possible to blow these people to death, but the horses would also be killed in that case, and they needed war horses. Swoosh! Swoosh! Some strong men from the Dragon Empire flew over here. Don't expect to be rescued. Your strong men don't have the upper hand. They can't come to rescue you at all. Either surrender or die. You have no other choice. A strongman from the Dragon Empire said coldly. The people of the Vulture Empire did not choose to surrender immediately. Soldiers, what if the enemy doesn't surrender? A strongman from the Dragon Empire roared loudly. Kill, kill, kill. Thousands of Shura cavalry roared murderously. The people of the Vulture Empire were forced to move forward, and soon another bomb exploded. Surrender, we surrender. Don't kill us. The people of the Vulture Empire collapsed. They came here with a total of 40,000 people, 20,000 of them died in the front, and several thousand people were killed in this valley. If they continue, all of them will really be left here. Don't destroy our war horses. Whoever destroys our war horses will die, and all the people in his team will also die. A strongman from the Dragon Empire said sternly. Drop your weapons and tie your hands. This is not your land. It is not worth dying here. If you die, your women and daughters may be taken over by villains, and your parents will be left alone in their old age. Your children who have not yet grown up may starve to death. A strongman from the Dragon Empire shouted. He used the language of the Vulture Empire, and the people of the Vulture Empire could understand. Some people were thinking of fighting, but after hearing what the men from the Dragon Empire said, they held back. They couldn't die here. The Vulture Empire was powerful, and they would probably survive if they were captured. Surrender, we can't beat them. There are still 200 miles, and we can't escape to the ship at all. The people of the Vulture Empire dropped their weapons and gave up resistance. If they were only facing a few thousand heavy armored cavalry, they would not be afraid, but the bombs were too scary, and the bombs would slow them down. The heavy armored cavalry might not be able to catch up, and with bombs constantly attacking them, it would be very difficult for them to get rid of the heavy armored cavalry. General, a total of 15,000 horses have been seized. Someone from the Dragon Empire said excitedly soon. Great. What we lack is war horses. After this battle, we will have almost 20,000 more cavalry. The general leading this team said happily. Time passed by, and many enemies on Meng Yi's side desperately fled to the seaside, but left a large number of corpses along the way. Don't chase them anymore, or you will be within the attack range of the Vulture Empire's warships. A few miles away, the people of the Dragon Empire stopped. The sea here does not suppress strength. The powerful warships of the Vulture Empire can attack 3 or 4 kilometers away. Hundreds of warships are equivalent to hundreds of strong men. Emperor-level strong men cannot attack ordinary people casually, but powerful warships can. As long as they don't reach excessive levels, there will be no problem. They didn't chase us. Damn it. Show them some strength. We, the Vulture Empire, are not made of clay. Alexander, the commander of the Vulture Empire, said sternly. Buzz. The 6 top warships burst out with powerful force. In the eyes of many people in shock, they actually flew into the sky. Go forward and kill them. The 6 top warships advanced at a speed of dozens of kilometers per hour. It is not easy for such a huge warship to fly. The speed is only this fast, which is much slower than their speed in the sea. Retreat, retreat. Everyone retreat quickly. The strongman of the Dragon Empire said sternly. The 6 top warships have perfect defense and attack power. They can quickly kill many people. Die. Soon the 6 top warships launched an attack. One of them bombarded a fireball with a diameter of more than 10 meters. The fireball reached several kilometers away in the blink of an eye. Its explosion covered an area of hundreds of meters. Many soldiers in this range were torn to pieces and burned to death. Boom. An ice dragon rushed out from another warship. The ice dragon landed and released extremely terrifying cold air in the blink of an eye. Kill. Some strong men from the Dragon Empire rushed over. But the 6 top warships were not easy to deal with. Moreover, the 6 top warships were still under the cover of many of their own warships. It didn't take long for the 6 top warships to advance 4 or 5 kilometers, and many people within a few kilometers in front of them were killed. Stop moving forward. Our warships can't provide protection if you move forward, retreat. Alexander ordered. If the top warships were damaged, it would be a big loss for them. In addition, the high-intensity attack just now consumed a lot of their warships. Yes. The 6 warships retreated quickly. Many strong men from the Dragon Empire secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Meng Yi's face was extremely gloomy. In the area of several kilometers attacked by the Vulture Empire's warships, they left a large number of corpses, and many corpses turned into ashes. If they chased them directly to the seaside, the losses would be even greater. Count the casualties. Meng Yi said in a hoarse voice. There was pain in his eyes. He knew there would be a lot of casualties, but he didn't expect them to be so heavy. The Vulture Empire's warships could actually fly, which exceeded his expectations. The top warships of the Vulture Empire weigh 3,000 to 4,000 tons, but they need to be equipped with defense arrays, attack arrays, water-breaking arrays, and many other methods. If they are equipped with floating arrays, the difficulty will increase a lot. At least the Dragon Empire does not have such technology for the time being. Yes, General. A general beside Meng Yi said in a deep voice. Half an hour later, the casualties were counted. Read. Meng Yi said in a deep voice. General, the Vulture Empire attacked with a total of 400,000 people, and 230,000 died. In addition, we captured 15,000 people alive. More than 23,700 of our soldiers died, most of them died in the last attack of the Vulture Empire warships. The general in front of Meng Yi reported. Meng Yi's face was extremely ugly. The enemy's casualties were 10 times theirs, but he still felt extremely angry. When did the Shura Corps lose so much? The combined casualties of the Black Tiger Empire, Tianlua Kingdom, and Blood Cherry Empire did not result in so many deaths. General, we didn't fail, we won. Meng Yi smiled bitterly. Although we won, the loss was too great. General, the Vulture Empire is the strongest country after all. We are already very good to have such a result. Their top warships can actually fly, how could we have expected that? On the Vulture Empire side, Alexander's face became even uglier. 400,000 people attacked, but more than 200,000 were lost in a short time. He had been thinking about ending the war as soon as possible and going back to celebrate the God Festival. Now, many people went directly to see the gods. Midline horizontal ellipsis.